WWE CEO Nick Khan talks about Vince McMahon possibly being involved in WWE creative, possible cuts due to the Endeavor acquisition and subsequent merger with the UFC, and a possible return to a pay-per-view model with WWE. An update on Cody Rhodes' Hollywood aspirations amid recent reports suggesting he could be in line for some major movie roles. Speaking of Cody Rhodes, Brock Lesnar is set to address Cody Rhodes' challenge for Backlash, and a possible spoiler on what the Beast has scheduled to say. An update on the absences of Drew McIntyre and Johnny Gargano respectively. Rhea Ripley slams a troll on social media, and could the Cavender Twins be headed to WWE? Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about WWE CEO Nick Khan. We don't really talk about Nick Khan that much. Of course, he's the current WWE Chief Executive Officer. He's going to be the president of WWE once the UFC and WWE have been merged under the Endeavor umbrella. But Nick Khan has done an interview and he's spoken about a variety of different topics when it pertains to real key critical aspects of WWE. WWE CEO Nick Khan has discussed the future of WWE creative following speculation about a potential behind-the-scenes role change. Following the April 3rd edition of Monday Night Raw, reports indicated that Vince McMahon was, quote, firmly back in charge at the show, despite stepping away from his creative duties in July 2022 when he retired. McMahon, though, hasn't been backstage for some of the more recent WWE shows, including this week's edition of SmackDown on Fox. Speaking on Light Shed Live, Nick Khan stated that WWE is lucky to have Paul Levesque running creative, stating that Triple H will remain the sole chief content officer of WWE. Khan said, quote, when this deal was officially announced, Monday morning, Vince sent out a company-wide email to our 1,000 or so employees, including myself. And in the email, he laid out the structure of the new co, which certainly you guys have read about and are familiar with. In addition to Vince being the executive chairman, Ari Emanuel being the CEO, Mark Shapiro being the president, Dana White continuing as president of UFC, and me at WWE, specifically Vince articulated that Paul Levesque remains as sole chief creative officer. So how does it work? Does that mean because I'm technically in charge of the business side of the business that I don't seek input from other people? Or wouldn't I seek input from Vince McMahon, who created this entire empire? That would be a mistake on my behalf. Paul and Vince have a family relationship, a relationship that stands back to the mid-90s. Paul's in charge of creative. If he wants input from Vince or Vince has ideas, then he and Paul are going to communicate. That's always going to be the case. We're lucky to have Vince. We're lucky to have Paul in control of creative. So Nick Khan very much towing the line when it's what's been said privately, now publicly saying Triple H is in charge of creative. He has final say, but he and Vince McMahon, he being Paul Levesque, Triple H, will have discussions. And Vince McMahon has said himself he'll be involved in top line stuff, but he's not going to be in the weeds. Well, in addition to talking about creative, Nick Khan has also commented on reported cost synergies with Endeavor acquiring WWE and the possibility of backstage and employee cuts. It was confirmed earlier this month that Endeavor had purchased WWE and will merge it into one sports and entertainment company with the UFC. Speaking in the same interview, Nick Khan discussed the recently reported cost synergies figure, noting, quote, if you look at what Endeavor was able to take out cost-wise from UFC in 2016, or shortly after that deal was done, we have the same expectation here. We think $50 million a year is a really conservative number. We have integration teams that are being formed now. We're going to get those in shape. I think we'll have a better sense of it in a month or two, but we're going to be pretty aggressive with them and make sure that for our shareholders, for our company, our organization is lean as mean as possible. And we're going to rely on that Endeavor flywheel to make up the rest. When asked about potential headcount cuts, Khan said, quote, there's other costs. What we always want to be protective of, our creative team, our production team. Keep in mind, none of us have anything to sell and the company would not have been transacted at this sort of price point if the product wasn't great. So the most important thing is to leave the product untouched. Untouched meaning if Triple H and Kevin Dunn, our longtime executive producer, want to evolve it, great. But in terms of cutbacks there, that's not what we're looking to do. So other efficiencies all around the company we're getting in the middle of, and let's see how it shakes out. Now, he's talking a lot of businessese there, Nick Khan, certainly, but he's saying the more production side of things, the stuff you associate WWE with, don't expect that to change that much, but if you're an office employee, if you're in the new WWE headquarters, that might be where these cost synergies are found out and are evaluated. So again, more on the business side of things, not so much on the production side of things. Now, with WWE now being officially sold, being purchased by Endeavor, and forming a merged company with UFC, lots of people have spoken about the possibility of going back to pay-per-view. One of the fans' main concerns about the sale was the pricing of WWE's premium live events, which currently come free with the $9.99 subscription to Peacock. However, UFC still runs traditional pay-per-views, which fans were concerned WWE would return to following the Endeavor sale. Speaking in the same interview, WWE CEO Nick Khan spoke again about the potential of WWE returning to the model. He said, quote, "We didn't like traditional pay-per-view because 50% or so of the dollars goes into demand dish or direct just for plugging it in, which is absurd. So getting out of that, going direct to consumer, got around that. You see, even with the UFC's ESPN Plus deal, there's no in-demand dish and direct. That money, however, UFC and Disney carve it up. It goes to them. They have their split. There's no middle person taking 50%. So we might consider going back to digital pay-per-view if it was accessible to our fan base, and if the price was right, of course we would consider it." Now, WWE's deal with NBC Universal for Peacock still has many more years left on it, so any potential change to WWE's pay-per-view model won't happen until then, so it's definitely something that's not in the immediate future. Long-term future maybe, but again, WWE and NBC Universal constantly rave about how many people are watching their premium live events at the moment, saying each year it's record increased viewership, so I think at the moment they're happy, but if there's more money to be made, and that's the key thing, if there's more money to be made, then WWE certainly will look to make it. Now, there had been a story going around that Cody Rhodes, of course, he lost in Hollywood at WrestleMania 39, but he could be looking to pursue other ventures in Hollywood, shall we say, in the form of television and film. Now, it was reported there had been multiple roles in Hollywood that had been pitched for the American Nightmare. Namely, there had been talks of Cody taking on the role of Johnny Cage in an upcoming Mortal Kombat movie, as well as a role in a potential upcoming Legend of Zelda movie. Many WWE stars have taken Hollywood roles in the past, which has seen those stars take more part-time roles in WWE, the likes of The Rock, John Cena, and others. But that won't be a worry for fans of Cody Rhodes. In an update from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Cody Rhodes has no plans on becoming a part-timer in wrestling, and any roles that he takes would go around his WWE schedule. This is something that Cody Rhodes has been very firm about, of course, talking about had he won the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship at WrestleMania, he wanted to have a legendary run where he competed pretty much every night. Factor in plus Hollywood and TV, he's saying that no, I'm not taking any time off, I'm not becoming a part-timer. Cody Rhodes, of course, challenged Brock Lesnar to a match at the upcoming WWE Backlash Premium Live event in Puerto Rico. Lesnar is set to respond to his challenge on tomorrow's edition of Monday Night Raw. And speaking of Brock Lesnar's response to Cody Rhodes tomorrow on Raw, this is quite a funny story when I saw it because I went, well, obviously. But nevertheless, according to one account, there are set to be details revealed soon about an upcoming bout between Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. After a passionate promo on Monday Night Raw in Seattle saw Cody Rhodes call out Brock Lesnar for Backlash, the Beast is indeed set to respond. Announced for an appearance on this week's upcoming Raw on April 17 in North Little Rock, Arkansas, is Brock Lesnar presumably is going to respond to Cody Rhodes about the challenge. Now, while we don't know what Brock will say about the reasons why he attacked Cody Rhodes, there seems to have been some more information revealed. According to WRKD Wrestling on Twitter, an upcoming match between the two stars is set to be confirmed very soon. Writing on Twitter, quotes, "Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar will be confirmed for the upcoming premium live event Backlash during this Monday's edition of Raw," which most people sort of went, well, yes. Obviously, I think if we got to this point anyway, no, they're not fighting. Rejects it. I mean, he could have rejected it, I suppose, and eventually get there, but we're kind of running out of time to get to Backlash now. Cody Rhodes, of course, is taking a detour away from chasing the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns on his quest for revenge against Brock Lesnar at the upcoming event in Puerto Rico. Maybe Rhodes will eventually get a rematch. We don't know. What we do know, certainly, is that it's going to be Brock. It's going to be versus Cody. That's going to be taking place at Backlash, the next premium live event. A lot of speculation about Drew McIntyre recently, of course, about his future. His contract's running out this year. He hasn't been on WWE television since WrestleMania. He's blacked out his Twitter profile. Lots of people wondering what's going on with the former WWE champion. And we've got the latest update on the WWE status of Drew McIntyre amid heavy speculation that he's on his way out of the company. With reports that McIntyre's contract is up this year and that McIntyre is unhappy with his position in the company, some fans have predicted that the former WWE champion won't be with the company this time next year. These rumours were fueled when McIntyre blacked out his Twitter profile and removed WWE references from his bio. Now, some people said, but it still says at Drew McIntyre WWE. It takes quite a bit to take it out of your handle. Nevertheless, there was a lot of speculation about McIntyre's status online, while the April 14 episode of SmackDown was even still on the air on Fox. Per PW Insider, McIntyre did do a number of interviews locally in Nebraska over the past week to promote the SmackDown episode. PW Insider noted that this would typically indicate that he was scheduled at that point to be involved in the taping. McIntyre ultimately didn't appear at the show, and he wasn't backstage either. Following rumours that McIntyre is preparing to leave WWE in time for an appearance at AEW All In London in August, reports have revealed that McIntyre's contract runs well past that date. So if you're thinking of seeing Drew Galloway at Wembley Stadium in London, it's not going to happen unless something crazy happens between now and then. But that's very, 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 very unlikely and actually not even contractually possible. But it is quite interesting, certainly, that McIntyre did interviews in Nebraska this week and then he wasn't there for SmackDown, which you would have thought at very least he would have been backstage. So did something happen, or was it just something he was scheduled for? But obviously because he's injured at the moment, he couldn't be at the show anyway. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. A really interesting story that involving Drew McIntyre, certainly. Now, another person that we haven't seen since WrestleMania weekend is Johnny Gargano. Now, people have been putting 2 and 2 together and maybe getting 5 because they've suggested that maybe this has to do with Vince McMahon's resumption of power in the company. That's why we haven't seen Johnny Gargano or anything like that. Well, actually, it's an injury issue that the former NXT champion is dealing with. Johnny Gargano hasn't appeared on WWE programming since NXT Stand and Deliver, leading many to wonder where he's been. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Gargano re-aggravated the shoulder injury that had him sidelined for much of January. After only having a couple of matches in his first few weeks back, Gargano ended up resting a dozen matches after March 4. Fightful have been told that the shoulder injury got worse after his Royal Rumble return, and by the time of the NXT match with Grayson Waller, he was severely hampered and using one arm essentially. The hope from the company is that he can repair the injury with physical therapy as opposed to surgery. As I mentioned, there was speculation that Vince McMahon returning to the fold led to Gargano's absence, but that isn't the case. McMahon actually was directly involved with communicating to Gargano in late 2021 that he wanted Gargano to remain with the company, but of course that was at a time when Gargano decided to take some time away. Obviously, the birth of his child was just about to happen then, and there was some trepidation about people going up to the main roster and not being treated properly, but by all accounts, Vince McMahon wanted him to stay, and it's got nothing to do with Vince. This absence at the moment, it's a shoulder injury that's been bugging him for a while. He came back, it's got worse, so the hope is now he can avoid surgery, but there's no real time frame on when the former NXT champion could return to WWE television. Now, this is quite some sad news regarding Rhea Ripley, actually, and her wider family. SmackDown Women's Champion Rhea Ripley took to Twitter yesterday, sharing the heartbreaking news that her grandmother had passed away. Rhea took to Twitter to share the news, saying, quote, "Thursday night, I lost one of my favourite people. Nonna, I'm going to miss your strong, loving hugs and your little sassy, cheeky attitude. It's so hard saying goodbye, but being able to see you again in February was the highlight of my year. I miss you, and I love you with all of my heart." Now, this is where social media is just the worst, and the anonymity of social media is just the worst, and people saying horrible things behind the strength of their phone, their keyboard, or their screen. One fan had responded, and I use the word fan very loosely, troll, had responded to Ripley, clearly not happy with the character that she portrays on WWE television, thinking it's real, claiming nobody likes her and she should leave WWE. Ripley responded to the fan, you can see it on the screen right there, tearing into them for the timing of the tweet, saying, quotes, "People like this make me regret leaving everyone I love behind. I've missed years without people I love to entertain and live my dream. You are effing disgusting human and don't deserve me, but here I am doing my job. Realize what's TV and what's real life. I deserve better." And maybe a little moral to take away, or a little life lesson to take away from today's video. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. And if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, right? She's just lost someone in her family and you feel like you need to do that. Absolute sham of a human being. Finally, this is quite an interesting one, I guess, about a future people coming into WWE. WWE has had its eyes set on the popular Cavender twins, Hayley and Hannah, becoming the next Bellas for quite a while now, and that hope may have moved one step closer to perhaps becoming a reality earlier this week. The basketball duo announced they'd be foregoing their final years of college hoops eligibility in order to start a new chapter in their lives. While on the Today Show Thursday morning, the Cavenders didn't hide their affinity for WWE, which should come as no surprise given their involvement with the Next in Line program since 2021. When asked about the possibility of working for WWE in the future, both smiled and relayed excitement about what could come down the line. "We love the WWE," Hayley said. "The fan base, the sport, the fitness side of it, they're great, our partner, and we're very excited in a future with them." After developing a strong following on social media, the Cavenders opted against taking advantage of the 5th year's athletic eligibility granted by the NCAA due to COVID-19. Last season, they played pivotal roles in the Miami Hurricanes, assisting the program experiencing its best finish in the women's program history, reaching the Elite Eight before losing to the eventual national champions, the LSU Tigers. However, the Twins know there are other opportunities out there that await them, and they'd like to explore taking advantage of them as best as possible, particularly when it comes to monetizing what they have to offer. So maybe in the future, we could see our latest set of twins come to the WWE Women's Division. So there you go, guys. This is latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.